Okay, welcome down, everybody. Thank you for coming back to another episode of Those Nerds You Know. My name is Ethan.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Corey.
And we are Those Nerds You Know. Woo! Now, you probably don't know these nerds just yet. You know me, I'm always here. But I have with me two certified nerds, good friends of mine. We have Michael McCarstall and we have Corey Addison here with us today. And they're going to help us talk about Star Wars. Woo! Yeah. So, I don't know. Gentlemen, is there anything you want to say about yourselves? Prove you're nerd.
I game a lot.
A lot, that's true, yes. Corey and I grew up basically together, and we grew up more or less on video games together.
Yeah.
Played video games
totally
since we were
true.
little. That's one of the main things we used to hang out and have fun together.
I mean,
Michael?
I met you because of Anime Club in high school.
That is
That's
accurate.
pretty...
That is so true, I forgot about that.
Wow.
Dude, it hit me just the other day that we've known each other for 10 years
10 years,
now.
yeah.
Like,
It's been nuts. Mm-hmm.
But, like,
not to mention all of my
23 or 4 for us.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
not to mention all of my tattoos are related to nerd stuff. So
Right, yeah. Truth. Goodness gracious. If I had tattoos, they'd all be nerd things, too.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Accurate. So, yeah. As this show normally is, it's just me and a group of my friends talking about nerdy stuff. Now, all three of us have seen a little movie recently called Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And boy, is it good.
the internet is ripped in half.
Yeah, no, people are dogging on this movie so bad, but I love it, and I maintain that the people that hate it are just weird Star Wars fans.
They really
that don't know
are.
what they like.
Like I shared. let me actually pull up the exact. It's a meme with the Anakin and Palpatine at the opera, and it's just ragging on the just mad fanboys. Let me.
Yeah, I don't.
I think that's what they are too. I think it's just fanboys that are just hating on it so much. They're
It is.
They're so stuck in the past.
It's oddly enough, it's a lot of what this movie's about. But like,
Let it die.
I think they're just so. There's a lot of people that love all of the old EU stuff. I do too. I love the video games.
Yeah.
I have read like the Darth Plagueis novel numerous times. It's great, but I always accepted because even George Lucas himself said none of that counts. My story, what counts
Right.
is my movies and the Clone Wars show. That's what he always said, and Disney just backed him up when they bought it. Like.
Yeah. Because even before Disney had it, they had a system where they set up like a tier of canon, more or
Yeah,
less.
it was called, like, the movies and the Clone Wars show were considered the G canon, the George canon.
Yeah.
Everything else had whatever tier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, like, some stuff more than others, and then there was... I'm sorry, but if you want to keep Chewbacca getting hit by a moon as canon, you're ridiculous. Like, you're out of your mind.
There's
it's so stupid.
There's so much.
It's too much.
And I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that does get to shine a little bit from
absolutely.
stuff that
the Old Republic stuff is what everyone raves about.
Well, I mean,
everyone
even
wants a movie about it.
Even in The Force Awakens and now in The Last Jedi, there are elements of the extended universe that they pull that they put in.
Like
They're
they
good.
brought Thrawn, like the character from that trilogy of the Heir to the Empire books.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him into the Rebels show. He's one of the main antagonists for season 3 and for.
Really need to see that show. I haven't watched
I
any
have
of it.
seen the first season all the way through, and it's just
Good.
I don't have cable. I just.
Well,
But it's not on Hulu or anything.
we have 600 channels, but I never watch television.
But it's so but the current season is going to be the last season. So once it's done, I'll just get it all in Blu-ray and go right through it.
Yeah. Good stuff. But yeah, I think I can't understand. I've seen some people say that this is what ended Star Wars for me, or what ruined Star Wars for me. I'm just like, how did you sit through the prequel trilogy?
That wasn't
and you
it.
say
Like,
that here.
like,
If you got through that trilogy and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, and this movie
they were
cuts
all
you
hating
off.
it. These are the same people that were hating it, I guarantee. But guess what? They're just
If this movie is where you end it, though, like
if you didn't give up after Attack of the Clones, if you didn't wash your hands of Star Wars after that, like you have
Then
no.
you're a fan for life. You're going to be
Like-
here for life.
Like,
Then
and don't get me
you're
wrong.
going to keep coming back.
I
That's
think-
what it is.
Don't get me wrong, I'll admit, it's hard, like we were saying earlier, it's hard to watch the prequels now as an adult. When I was a little kid, that was the coolest stuff in the world.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what I
Like,
grew up on. Because I
there
mean,
was-
like That's what a lot of people, I think, another thing, people having problems with this movie because it like dogs on things that they grew up on or things like that, like with Luke dying at the end and different things of that nature. But
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alert. But if you grew up with the trilogies, and then you watch the original trilogy, spoiler alert, the hero of the trilogies is killed in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Darth Vader dies. That's what happens. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I think Luke went out in a much better way.
Right? I absolutely love the way he went out.
Yeah.
Because I went in... When they announced this trilogy, I kind of resigned myself to the fact that they're probably going to kill off all of them. And now it kind of has to be because of the untimely passing of Carrie Fisher.
Right.
But
So sad.
the thing I was most scared of was Luke going out, like, pulling an Obi-Wan and, like, sacrificing himself like that and getting killed by some younger, stronger,
That's the other
whatever.
thing.
I just did not want to see that, and they gave me that, and that made that entire movie so much better. And it's such... And I've heard a lot of people hating on Luke wouldn't do any of this and that. He wouldn't have given up. And like, I'm sorry, but he almost did in the old movie, in the original trilogy.
He certainly would. He
Like,
would
don't get me
certainly
wrong,
consider killing someone. He's a murderer. He's killed plenty of people.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's killed thousands.
Although there apparently in the Battlefront 2 game recently, there's a level where you play as Luke, and he's basically having to work with this Imperial officer, and the officer was like, "Why should I trust you? You just killed all the people, all of his battalion or whatever." And Luke says, "Because they were shooting at me," or something along those lines. And
Because they were a danger to everyone.
Yeah. So they were attacking me. I'm going to defend myself. But yeah, Luke killed people, especially in Return of the Jedi when they were getting off the barge. He mowed through Jabba's people. Like That's true. Yes, I will give people this. He is not a murderer. He's not going to he went into Kylo's home and with the intention of just killing him in his sleep. It's pretty dark. Mm-hmm. But all things considered, after what happened with his father, of course he's going to have scars from that. It's going to last the rest of his life, and he didn't want to see that happen again.
And the thing is, he didn't. He didn't give in to that. He thought better of it. It was just a poor timing.
Yeah.
Should have turned off your lightsaber sooner.
I mean, Jedi or not, he's still human. He's still susceptible to fear.
And Kylo's still crazy too, so like...
That is also very...
Although,
it's not all his
I do
fault.
respect Kylo for nutting up in this movie.
Yeah.
I
I
actually
Kylo a lot.
really appreciate him as a villain now, as opposed to where we were towards the end of the last movie. Because, everyone called him a whiny little baby, and kind of was. But now, like Snoke said, I sense resolve, and he sure has that resolve.
I'm super happy with that. I cannot wait. I hope beyond hope. I've been wanting to see the Knights of Ren. I wish we would have seen more of that in this film. But I hope beyond hope that they are still alive. First off, which I think they are, and that they come in the next movie.
I was joking around about theories earlier with you guys about them being bad, but one of the common it makes sense that, especially now with this movie, that Luke says Kylo took however many of the students with him when he burned down the temple. So the best guess is that they're probably the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, which is
makes
cool.
sense.
I'm A-okay with that. I'm so happy and so okay with having more people with lightsabers. I love the Jedi aesthetic, and I have wanted really badly to have a movie with a bunch of Jedi that do cool stuff. Attack of the Clones kind of does that for a little bit.
And they all die.
Yes, and a lot of them die. And then, it's just, the prequel movies are cool to me because there's so many Jedi, and I like seeing that. I would love to learn more about all of them. And
watch the
things
Clone
like
Wars
that,
series.
Why I like the Clone Wars
watch
series.
that series.
I like that
incredible.
series a lot. It's really, really good.
It's tragic that they didn't get to finish it.
I wish we would get a theatrical representation of that. That was better than what we got. But I did like all the lightsaber stuff that happened in the trilogies, the prequel trilogy. That being said, in this, one gripe I do have is that there wasn't enough lightsaber stuff for me, because that's what I come for.
Yeah,
but
it's a little fix.
It's still good,
But I did love the fight with the Praetorian Guard.
That was so cool. That was the best moment of that movie.
That was more brutal than I was expecting, because...
And, someone brought this up to me the other day, about that scene. It was a style of fight scene filmmaking that we haven't really seen in Star Wars.
No, absolutely.
Normally, for the fight scenes, it's, kind of pulled back, but, the camera was in there, in the action, and moving and everything, and it was just like so much more high energy than most of the fights we've been treated to.
You're right. Like, and a lot of people have complained about that. But it was still a great sequence. Like, and especially now, we're gonna get a final duel in the next one.
Yeah.
Let's be real, though.
Yeah.
And the people that are complaining about it, though, let's be real. A New Hope, that duel was two old men poking at each other. Like,
oh yeah, no.
Maybe back in 1977, that's exciting, but
lightsaber duels have come a long way since those films.
As much as I love it, it's George Lucas even said it himself. It was two old men.
Yep.
Like, and Obi-Wan was just kind of stalling for time anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's another thing about the trilogies, the prequel trilogy, and moving into the original trilogy is that like Obi-Wan was a boss in all of the prequel trilogy, and then you get to A New Hope, and he just kind of just like, hey guys, and he just falls over and dies, and like that's it. That's all he is. And
he's
so
built up throughout the entire movie, and don't get me wrong. He's the only one he and Vader are the only ones who seem to know how to use the lightsabers in this galaxy at the time. So it's like these guys are so special, and I wish I could have been there in 1977 to see that because it probably played it. Because I grew up on it, like that
of all the things we could go back in time for, we would go back in time to watch Star Wars, not to stop any wars, not to save anybody. I want to go see Star Wars.
I just want to see Star Wars in the theater.
I've learned so many things about it recently. It had an 18-month theatrical run. It was in theaters for forever.
Yeah, it was in there a long time.
It made so much money.
I can't remember what the
oh my gosh,
what the adjusted for inflation number is. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what it is, what the adjustment is, but it was a crap ton back then. And oh my gosh,
people went to see it, and especially with Empire, people saw that movie so many times because now it's cliche, but the I'm Your Father thing just blew people's minds.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That was that's a moment I would like to see.
Yeah.
Like the first showing of that film. At that moment. It's like, it's crazy. Super cool. So let's get into the film. Where do we start? We start with a joke that everyone apparently hates, which I think is hilarious and fine.
Sorry, Star Wars has humor.
Yeah, it always does.
You know what? I was a big fan of all the Pokemon that were in this movie. I'm just gonna say it. I hope that those Pokemon make it into the next generation because they were kind of awesome.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like the Porgs.
The Porgs and
the
crazy
ice boxes. Like
yes,
those look like Pokemon. And I hope they make it into the next generation.
Oh god. But it starts with the scene with Poe just going against a dreadnought, this most terrifying thing we've seen, till like a few scenes later. Yeah. But that was incredible.
Dude,
I believe he's tooling with you, sir.
I feel like that was iconic.
Like
that was just great.
Star Wars has humor. People hated on the prequels because they were dour and sad.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Right.
I'm sorry, one joke doesn't land with you. Fine. It doesn't bring down the whole movie.
Yep.
Like, he's a smart aleck. Like, Han, like in A New Hope, when they were, in the prison cells trying to get Leia out, and Han was on the intercom with on the communicator with the Imperials trying to stall for time. He's like, nope, we're fine down here.
Yep. That's just it. Yeah,
it's the same kind of humor.
I agree. I can't, people hating on this movie is just people building up their expectations to a certain thing, and then having their expectations ripped away from them.
Yes,
and being butthurt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is a great film. It's fine.
Watch it.
It's just as funny and cool as any of the other ones. It's probably, I think the action in this is probably the best we've ever seen.
I'll still argue that Revenge of the Sith had some of the best action we've seen. Like I will never not enjoy the Mustafar duel.
Yeah,
that will always be a
really
great
good
sequence.
Gosh, that's a good sequence.
They Poe mows through the blast the turrets and all that, and then they call in. And they got the bombers, which is a cool thing to see.
It is a cool thing to see, but while I was in the theater watching this, I was like,
How are they not getting sucked out by once the bay doors are? I don't know.
How does this work? There's no gravity here.
Right.
We know this for a fact. There's no gravity here.
It's
how are they falling?
Yeah, it's this weird.
What are they doing?
Suspension of disbelief. Like maybe it has something to do with the ship's shields.
That's
maybe
there's some
my
kind of.
guess.
I imagine there's some kind
something.
of attraction.
There's some kind of technical
stick to them.
something that would explain it away, and they'll probably have it in the visual dictionary.
Yeah, that's
about
because
that's coming.
Well, I'll just
out.
have to read a book, guys.
Maybe there was some mechanism in the ship that actually dropped the things and it
through the whatever.
Yeah, maybe just because you don't need a whole lot of motion in space to get something. It just pushes
it's
them,
just
nudges them, and then they're like, "There we go." It
So
sure
nice.
did look like they just dropped them, though.
Yeah.
But and that's
gosh.
and when she's sitting there trying to kick the ladder to get.
Yeah.
That was
man,
a lot of
tense,
tense.
man.
that was
No.
hard to watch at first.
That's something. So people, we mentioned earlier when we were ranting about this prior to hitting the record button, how people have talked about the pacing of this film. I am one to say that I wasn't a huge fan of it the first time I watched it. I'll probably be okay with it the second time I watch it. I just think The Force Awakens does not stop. That movie just goes through and through.
It plows right through that. It's a
beginning to end.
bullet train of a
Just
movie.
keeps going. Yes, and this movie I feel lulls in the middle, in the early middle, but it's
They give you a little room to breathe.
Yeah,
is
I
what
think so.
feel.
But I feel like when it picks up, it's faster and more intense than we've seen
Yes.
before. So there are bigger dips and bigger
Higher,
rises, in this film than what was in The Force Awakens. So it kind of balances itself. So I was happy, but I physically felt like I was dragging through the middle, especially when they were on the casino floor.
Yeah,
and I was
let's wait till we get to that because I think
actually,
everyone's
too.
biggest gripe.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, but the thing what I think they were clever at it because they open with this joke and then this space scene, so there's a whole bunch of action.
huge space battle because a lot of people complain, "Oh, Force Awakens didn't have space." Well, this was a great space battle.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Huge, great space battle, and then it slows. So it
Yeah.
opens really big, so you're like, awesome, yeah, Star Wars movie.
Star
and
Wars
it's
is back.
I don't think you feel it quite as much when it slows down.
Yeah.
I noticed it, but I think some people don't. So, and that's probably why they're just tricking you. They're like, look at all this action, and then we're gonna slowly run away from these people
For the entire. Just slightly less slow than those giant ships behind us.
So good. So anyway, you've seen it the most recently, so we're going to rely on you to take us through it. I don't remember exactly where we're going to this point.
They come back in. Leia goes off on Poe because he got
a lot of people killed.
Yeah, no.
all the
it was
he got
Poe's
a lot of
decision.
people killed,
Yeah, it was Poe's decision to
and
attack.
she demoted him and kicked him off the bridge and all that. And then we go to Finn. We finally see Finn. He wakes up. He's
That's
fine.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. He's
And,
all wet and naked.
And then from there we pop straight to Rey and Luke.
Yeah.
The scene
true.
that that cliffhanger scene on.
I laughed so
Oh
hard. I was
god!
like,
The first time I saw it,
He just
because
threw it over
it's
his
that same start to like she goes up, and she hands up, and you see that conflict in his face because he hadn't seen this thing in 40 years.
Yeah.
And
Right.
last time he saw it, there was a hand attached,
Like, you see the conflict in his face, and then it just gets real resolved.
and just whoop right over the shoulder. It was great.
It was so
Oh man, because it clearly he is grumpy Luke, but he's still got some Luke in him.
Yeah. No,
And-
I liked that a lot. That was good.
And from there we
Subverting
see
expectations.
a lot of this island. On
all the weird stuff, the weird green milk, very strange.
hey man, there's blue
the
milk
way
and
he
the rest
fishes.
is.
Okay, I call shenanigans with the way he fishes. Unless,
That was so cool though.
Unless he's using the
but
Force.
that thing, but he wasn't because he cut himself off.
He wasn't. Yeah, he's
He
just
grabs a
that.
fish.
He's just that good.
This thing though has got to be just yards long. Like it's probably 30
That was
yards
stories
long.
tall. That was
Yes.
that was
Huge,
high.
So
up.
he's holding it. How does he get the fish?
He just
Does
pulls-
this?
he
But it's
probably
gonna get to a point
pulls
where it's
the
just
thing-
he's not gonna be able to hold that.
He
It's gonna
probably
flip.
just swings back over to the other side
And then pulls it up?
Pulls the thing up.
But I
That's
mean- That's a lot of work for a fish.
That's a lot.
Like, just go down to the coast and fish. That's so
too
much
easy,
work.
though.
That is so much work if you're not going to use the force.
In that scene, it might not be dangerous to go down the coast, because in that scene,
or it might be
doing that
dangerous,
upshot,
because they got
there's
that big monster.
Massive
Yeah,
monster that
I was so
he's
sad.
diving.
Okay, so little known fact, I am terrified of the ocean. I saw it and I was like,
saw that-
someone's
just-
gonna fall in the water.
just
we're gonna
the
see
tail of that
like,
thing.
Also, I don't know if I told you, gentlemen, but we spoil everything that we review on here because I
Yeah,
don't care
we-
about non-spoiler things. So, anyone who's listening knows, they're warned. It's in the description. But, like, later on, when she falls in the water, I was so upset because I immediately thought of that thing. I was like, get out of the water now. Get out. Now, I gotta get eat. I was so afraid.
No, it was just in a little cavern, so it was kind of closed off.
That
There's
could
no
have
way
been his
you're
home.
out.
That could have been his house.
It just kind of slinks into it.
Oh my god. I was so terrified.
Oh yeah, there's that. They released something about it because there was some kind of thing they put out about the creatures in the movie. So it talked about the porgs and the caretakers and talked about that thing too. It's basically a sea dragon.
Yeah.
It's
Basically
terrifying.
terrifying. Yeah. Not cuddly. No.
Not cute and cuddly, but no. And so we just see just general Luke badassery for a little while.
And like for a minute. So when she's knocking on his door, and then eventually the door just blows off the handles,
You're like,
I'd completely forgotten that she was there by way of the Millennium Falcon with
Yeah.
Chewie. So that was
You get wrapped up in
a
it.
good reminder. That
And
he
then
was there.
Chewie shows
So I was
up
like,
and-
did she just push it off with the Force? What is this chick? Who is she?
How did she suddenly?
like,
And then you get
Because that was like Chewie walked into his
Yeah.
house
Yeah.
at that point, right?
he just barged in there. And then
So
we get
funny.
that moment on where Luke realizes where's Han, and
yes.
because
Oh, that was sad.
I forgot
because
about that,
I had kind of just going into it, I had kind of just guessed that he felt Han died,
Yeah.
but then they reveal he's closed off from the Force.
I
He
know.
can't,
Right.
and so it just hits him, and that's what gets him to at least hear them out, and he's
Oh, that's so rough.
Yeah,
like.
that was heavy.
And then see from where a lot more. Oh yeah, that's it. That's where it goes into them making the plan to go to Canto Bight, which is just
Right. Yeah, that's when Homeboy
Yeah.
tries to leave the ship.
he tries to escape and
Finn, gosh, I forget names. Really, you're gonna if you know names.
Yes,
let
I
me
will
know.
give you
I
the-
forget. So Finn tries to leave the ship and he gets tased, which I was super happy about.
Boom!
He got stunned.
flies
She was like,
into
"You were
that.
trying to escape. Nah.
Yeah,
I
and
liked
then
her. I liked that they
They click
linked her.
quick.
They
too.
clicked quick, but I like that they gave her a little bit of a backstory. They linked her to the person. that we saw earlier.
Paige was her
Cool.
sister, and
Yeah, give us a bit of more.
Fun fact: there's actually a book about they're called Cobalt Squadron, and it was Rose and her sister and how they joined the rebellion.
That's cool.
I actually got that
I'll have
for
to do
my
that.
wife for Christmas.
That's
Aw.
sweet. I just started looking into what's the stuff that's now canon. I picked up. I don't know if you can see it. A book called Dark Disciple, which I'm excited.
oh
to
yes,
read about.
I haven't read that one. I'm currently reading the Aftermath trilogy. It's the first book picks up like a month after the second Death Star was destroyed. So like
after
right
five?
after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So right after 6.
Or 6.
And it goes through and apparently I've heard light reviews of the book just to kind of get more into it, but it's mostly about the end of the Empire and the formation of the First Order.
yeah,
and
that would be
it
cool to
goes
read.
in and
I'd like
talks
to see
about, and then there's parts where they go in and talk about apparently the Emperor like felt something out there in the unknown regions, and we're kind of guessing it's Snoke.
Probably.
And he was just kind of like starting to like invest
Yeah.
into exploring out there and all that kind of
Good
stuff.
point.
And then it also covers the last book's called Empire's End. It covers the Battle at Jakku, where that's how that Star Destroyer was crashed on the planet. So that's
Gotcha.
where all that
That's
happened.
cool. That's cool. Yeah, I love stuff like that. I love world building.
Right.
Eddie and I talked about this in our last episode last week, which I assume neither of you have listened to. That's fine. But it's about spin-offs, and there's
yeah.
a really cool manga spin-off right now of
My Hero Academia? Oh, Vigilantes.
So have you read it? Broski, you need to read it.
I
It's so
haven't
good.
read I haven't read the actual manga.
Have you
so-
watched the anime?
I probably may as well, but I just don't have time.
I've been reading the manga, and I prefer that. But like
Yeah.
Eddie and David watch the anime.
Fair enough.
So I'm like, it's fine. But Vigilante is really cool. Regardless, I don't need to talk about that because we talked about that. But I like world building a lot.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to read this book. This book is shoot. It's set like. Did you ever play?
Well, I know it takes place during the end of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
It's Ventress and Quinlan Voss.
Some other guy. Sure. Yeah.
Don't know Quinlan Voss. Yeah. Well, he shows up in the Clone Wars series.
Cool. I've seen the first season, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't gotten
basically that book, Dark Disciple, was about it. There were scripts to finish out the Clone Wars show, and that book was based off of a set of them.
Okay, cool.
And they just kind of turned it into a novel instead. But yeah, there's a lot of books that I guess we'll go on a quick another tangent. Fine.
That's how the show works.
There's been a lot of books that have come out about like the Aftermath trilogy, like Dark Disciple, and all this and that. And there's a book about Leia growing up and how she kind of felt the Force and her beginnings into the getting into the political arena and all that. And apparently it's a great book. But what I want more than anything, now that The Last Jedi's out, we don't have to worry about spoilers for Luke or this and that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they give me a book about Luke between 6 and 7, because that's what I want.
Yes.
I want him learning, or give me a comic or something.
I think a lot of people wanted to see this really be awesome Luke.
Yes.
That we've heard about, and that was so prevalent in the extended universes, in the books and all that, because he is a monster. He's really good.
The strongest Jedi that ever lived.
Amazing. And we've never seen that in films.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him
just
sort of
getting
into
into
his own.
it.
Yes, that's really it. The original trilogy is the beginning of his story, really. He does so many other things, and in this film, I feel like we didn't. I can see how people would think they didn't really get a payoff for that.
And it's upsetting, but at the same time, if these movies had been made 20 years ago, we could have gotten that.
Right. I don't think. Yeah. Right now, I don't think we could get.
Harrison Ford is in his 70s, and then they killed him off. Mark Hamill is in his 60s. He can't do that.
He's not going to run around and flip. He did enough flipping when he was in his form later on when he fought with Kylo.
Yeah.
I think they did it as well as they possibly could have.
Yeah, because the one scene where he does do something that's a stunt double.
Yeah.
They could just do that, but it's this is about something new.
A Clone Wars type show about Luke.
Yeah, I would kill for that. I would kill for that.
So cool.
And in fact, because now that Rebels is ending, they're doing another show, and if it is about that, then Disney's got my money for sure.
Disney has everyone's money. They just bought so much crap from Fox.
so much.
$52 billion.
Yes, I thought it was
like the Marvel universe now complete.
No,
sort of.
Almost. I thought that's all their purchase was just the Marvel stuff.
All
they bought so many things.
All of 21st Century Fox, all of their film and TV. So technically Disney owns Alien and Predator and all kinds of stuff. And now
so much.
Back bringing it back, they technically own the original Star Wars.
Right.
So hopefully
they didn't own that at first because it was split with Fox, the first one.
Hopefully we can get that. The originals on Blu-ray, that would be incredible. But there's also been a lot of speculation that it's entirely possible that Lucas put something in when the deal went through that, no, you can only do the special editions. Because he is hardcore about the special edition. He refuses... He basically just denies that they always exist. Nope, this is how I really wanted it to happen. I just couldn't do it at the time. Get over it, man. People love these movies.
I understand his view as an artist, though. I really, really do. I get that.
But at the same time, you can't just keep trying to tweak your art. Then it becomes something else at that point.
But I understand what you're doing with your vision, though. Because if he got something done and it was really good, but the only reason it was good was because it was the best of the time and it wasn't actually what he wanted, I can understand him saying, look, I want to do this better, and I love that you love what I did and that you support me, but I don't think it was my best, and I think we can do better. I understand that mentality. I also understand the frustrations of people wanting to have that old stuff, the original runs and things like that, but I don't know.
All right, so back to the movie.
Yeah, so, sure. What were we talking about?
Something about Snoke being
Right. So right. So this is the point where Finn and Rose and Poe.
They come up with the plan to go to Canto Bight. They
Rather
get
ridiculous
to
thing.
find the master codebreaker.
So they can.
They said that phrase too many times.
Yeah. So they can break into like the.
They could get onto Snoke's ship.
Right.
So they could turn off the tracker
So
because they could track them through light speed now, which is. I mean, they'd never set that up as being an issue until. So yeah.
And they didn't really explain much of that at all.
They do it real quick with that when they first meet, and it's just like it's science jargon.
Finn and Rose just had a nerd moment with
It
each other.
was a little science jargon. Probably, if you actually pick it apart, none of it actually makes sense.
Honestly, yeah. Well, it's because Star Wars isn't very good at explaining technology.
No, it doesn't
because
at all.
Star Wars is set as Lucas wanted in a world where it's been the future for a long time.
Yeah, it's
And
just,
this
it's
what
how it
people
is. They don't have to talk about
Right.
it.
So this is probably one of the first times we've seen a new technology show up outside of the Death Star itself and Starkiller Base, which were just really
that was
much bigger blasters.
It was
what they were.
bigger Death Star, and technically ran a different way.
It was like a solar system killer versus a planet killer.
Yeah. Gosh. Man.
But yeah, so they come up with the plan. They sneak off the ship and go to Canto Bight, and then
Yes.
Canto Bight is where I always get up and use the bathroom. The first time through, I didn't.
That's where it drags.
It's like a throwback to the prequels where we just saw a whole bunch of nonsense we didn't.
Hold on, and for the purposes of building up the rapport and relationship between Finn and Rose, it worked. It's just, I wish they could have done that a different way. Is because, so that's my big gripe about the series, about the movie. And then, we did skip something.
I'm sure we.
The second space battle,
Plenty.
where Kylo and his crew go on the assault.
Right. Speaking about Leia and being force sensitive.
So yeah,
force sensitive Leia,
So-
which was strange.
I only don't like it because of just how it's shot, and it's 100% CGI. Like it just felt weird because it was that same technology they used to recreate Tarkin, basically, or from my understanding. So it's just, it doesn't look quite right, and then when she's flying through space, it just looks awkward.
A little stiff.
Exactly.
Well,
she's also freezing in
also
space.
That is probably has
So
no
it might be a little
freezing. So like that's understandable.
It just
It's
looked
also,
weird.
It was good though to have confirmation that she is force sensitive.
Well, that was always confirmed.
At this point, this is a force user.
To be able to,
yeah, she's now like just a full on.
To see her use it, I guess.
Clearly able to do.
Good to
Yeah,
see
because
her
she could always sense
use an
things.
ability.
I feel Episode 7 and Episode 8 did a much better job than the originals of showing Leia as a sensitive. Like, there was a couple of scenes in the originals where it's obvious.
Well, it's only really in Episode 6, too. Yeah, where it's revealed that they're siblings. And
Right. But, like, I mean, look at her father and Luke's father both being Darth Vader. It would make sense that she can use the Force as well. Just she wasn't trained in it like Luke was.
Yeah,
supposedly, I've heard also that it's supposedly canon that Yoda actually preferred Leia and wanted to train Leia.
That was actually a thing.
He was like, she's got it much better than this fool does.
Yeah, she basically, or Yoda basically found that he expected Obi-Wan to get Leia and bring him to Yoda for training, but he found Luke to be reckless, too much like his father.
Also, Obi-Wan probably couldn't stalk Leia where she was being grown, raised.
Yeah, well, she was on Alderaan and going throughout the galaxy as a politician and all.
Yep.
But
much harder to be a creepy weird guy
when you have
around
to.
Her.
Yeah,
She's probably got plenty of guards and stuff.
Yeah, lots of guards, I imagine.
Luke is like, I'll just go get lit.
I'll just stay in the desert for 20 years and turn into a raisin.
Yeah, gosh.
Speaking of Obi-Wan, I can't wait for that movie. Oh my god.
Oh, the origin movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so great.
I
can't.
I am trepidatious towards that and towards the Han Solo one.
Han Solo's got me on the right. I'm kind of
right, and that's the one that's coming out first, so that's the one I'm gonna judge the rest of them by. So they did a poor job making him first. It's just like there's some people that I don't think we need origins for. Han is
well, it's not even an origin. It's just his time in the desert. like watching over
You're
Luke.
talking about Obi.
Yeah, no, Han Solo.
Han Solo will be an
I will
alternate
see
and
that.
don't-
I will still be in line
Well, I
opening
mean, it
night.
can't just be his time in the desert, though, the Obi-Wan movie. That's going to be boring as crap.
It's
gotta
entirely
be
possible that
something.
he does other things, but
I
takes
think- I
place
just-
during that
I wanna
19
see
year
some,
things
like,
out there.
Out there Star Wars stuff. Like, if we're going to do anthology things, I want them to go, like, way far back.
Well, that's what Ryan Johnson's doing next.
Do stuff.
He's
Good.
got they gave him a trilogy.
That's right, I heard
Yeah.
that.
So Ryan and
hopefully
he has
it's that.
and he has come out and said we don't exactly know entirely what we're doing with it yet.
Right.
We're still working on the story for it.
I
So
hope
it
they
could be
go-
some weird, bizarre
I hope they go
stuff.
really far back or really far forward or
Yeah,
just really
I heard
far
that
away.
he's getting away from like
Good.
Yes,
the
he has
current
come out and said
story.
he doesn't want
This is gonna be
to.
the end of this whole arc,
Yeah.
big arc, and then his next trilogy is going to be its own entity.
Yeah, it's basically a spin-off trilogy, and I cannot wait.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I'm so happy with this movie, I have that much confidence in him to do
Right,
that.
yeah.
Now, they haven't confirmed if he's directing all of it, but he's definitely going to be writing and producing.
yeah.
Like, he's probably going to direct the first one and then see from there.
I'd love to see some cool stuff. Some things that I've heard about or that I've read about on like Wikipedia or whatever. Like
Yeah.
all just tons of
There's
stories.
so many
There's so many
things
places
you
they can
could-
go, and I want them to do that.
Yeah, he said that he wants it to be something that Star Wars has just never explored before. Now, if he might just mean that in movies something like this has never been explored, or it could just be something completely brand new, which is fine with me because I want it to expand. I don't want him to just keep Skywalkering it up. I love the Skywalker story, but I don't want that to be the only thing for Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I
'Cause-
agree. So I'm so glad that Rey is not
Yes.
anything important
Yes.
or related to anyone else. I'm like, thank you.
She's a nobody.
Let's just do
She's a
something other than
nobody.
a Skywalker, please.
Like and because but a lot of people forget. Literally, all of the Jedi before were nobodies.
Yeah.
They were. They what they did was they could find force sensitive children when they were
And abduct
babies.
them.
They were babies. They would go to. They didn't quite abduct them. They actually have a part. They actually have a thing in the Clone Wars where there's an episode about it. Like they go to the family and ask them for the child, and yeah.
Tradesies.
I mean, Anakin, for crying out loud, didn't have a father.
Nope,
Right.
he is Force
I'll
Jesus.
do it for
Yeah,
He is Force
so
Jesus.
weird.
He is.
That's such a strange way to go with his explanation.
Don't get me wrong.
Imagine
Why?
Forception.
Don't get me wrong. They tried. It's not canon, but in the Darth Plagueis novel, it's revealed that he kind of created Anakin, but it's not canon because he was obsessed with like being the master of life and
Right.
death, and so he was basically trying to create life, and he failed. But then the Force basically backlashed against him, so that created Anakin.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great book, and it almost makes metachlorians cool. Almost, almost. They try real hard in that book to make it make sense and to make it cool. And in the context, it works. I still don't like the concept. It's just, it's too much. It
just-
was.
Random question, because I don't know this. Like, what point in the timeline is Darth Plagueis? Is that like right before?
So Darth Plagueis
So-
was the master for Darth.
So yeah, so if we're gonna use the book and say if it actually happened, it technically happens. Parts of it happen like he's old. He's an alien species. He's a moon. I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's Muun.
Got a big long head.
Yeah, and so he's hundreds of years old, but
He's a cone head.
so it starts like 100 or so years before where he kills his master and takes over as the
That's
Dark
how
Lord
you
of the
do it
Sith.
in the Sith
Yeah.
world.
Right.
I've watched some things about that. That's nuts. Like
it's-
videos about how
yeah.
the Sith works. Crazy.
Well, it used to be an army of them, and then Darth Bane killed all of them.
Right? Yeah.
except
He
one.
sort of set up. He set up.
Yeah,
the
he
system.
set up the rule of two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
the Sith
but-
used to be a race, not
Yeah,
necessarily.
it was a
It was a race,
species,
it was
and
a
then
species, and they started
they-
using it to refer to people who follow the Sith.
fallen Jedi.
It's a lot, and I could do an entire
Not
podcast
necessarily
on that
fallen
alone.
Jedi. There's just like they had their own like sort of mantra.
Well, it was
Yeah.
Jedi that fell away from the Jedi
Yeah,
code.
there was a
Went to
Jedi.
Sith,
It was basically a
and they
Jedi
became-
civil war
Yeah.
Yeah,
happened,
they
and it
became
cracked.
Sith
Yeah.
lords.
But yeah, anyway, so Darth Plagueis is where in that book is where he also finds Palpatine. Palpatine is about college age. He's in university as a budding politician and all that, and he's like part of like the young senators thing or whatever on Naboo. And Plagueis happens to go to Naboo for some kind of thing because he's the Dark Lord of the Sith, but he's also got that other persona for the galaxy to see, and his people are basically bankers and investors and stuff like that. So he's dealing with talking to some politician, and that's just how he meets Palpatine. And Palpatine, he's like 18 or so, and he gets to know him, and he realizes this kid is powerful, and then it jumps forward and through time and throughout the training, but it eventually ends up right into episode 1. Like the night when he is declared as the Supreme Chancellor is the night that he murders Darth Plagueis in his sleep. Like he gets Plagueis drunk and lightnings him to death.
Wow.
Like he fries this guy.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it is a great book, and I wish it were canon, but it's not. It's not. I love it.
Okay.
But I still love it.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if anyone's listening and doesn't know, or if you don't know, like there's a moment when in episode 3 when Sidious is explaining, he's Palpatine, the thing hasn't revealed himself. He's explaining to Anakin about
the scene at the Opera House.
About
that had literally
overcome death, and that's like he's talking about his master.
He's literally talking about the master that he fried in his sleep. So yeah,
nuts. But yeah. Anyways, we're talking about Star Wars: Last Jedi, right?
Were we?
I don't know. We're like 20
that
minutes.
came out. So they go to Canto Bight, and it everything there happens.
Right. We were talking about
it was cool, and
vibe.
I get it. And like I said, it's part of building their rapport and relationship.
Right.
But it also serves to show that there are people that there's all kind. It broadens Finn's mind to the galaxy,
right?
Because he sees all this glitz and glamour, and these people are warmongers at the same time, right. And it broadens our view of what's going on in the war, and just how people can the way people can feel about it, and just honestly why there is a rebellion, why there are people that obviously don't want the Empire over. Yeah.
Because there's things like this. There's just people that want nothing more than to make money and have power and rule over these people and enslave people. It's bad. So
yeah, that was like when Benicio del Toro's character, the Master Codebreaker, and he's like, "Oh, this guy, he's selling weapons to the Empire," and he points out like 3 different,
there's
huge,
3 there's an AT-AT, there's a TIE bomber, and then one or two other things, and the good guys and shot, and it shows the X-wing. It's like good guys, bad guys, it's all made up. I appreciate that because there's always a gray area.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see different parts of this conflict. There's not just the First Order and the Resistance. There's all these different.
The rest of the galaxy is involved in some way,
right?
Because that's one of the theories. One of the theories behind Snoke is that he was just from a different part of the galaxy. Because again,
he's from the unknown regions,
right? And
that's one thing we do kind of know about him. We don't know his history.
Yeah, something we mentioned earlier when you were talking about how Sidious was feeling something out in the unexplored regions or whatever it was. I was just like, yeah, Snoke's probably just a fanboy. Like he's probably just like, man, that Empire is awesome. I wish I could be like that Empire. And then when the Empire fell, he was like, this is my chance. I can do this.
Yeah. But in the Aftermath trilogy, it explains how they got out there to him and formed the First Order and all that. It doesn't really apparently. I don't know if it talks much about him personally, but it at least explained a lot of things.
Yeah.
Or at least some of the lead up.
I'll eventually read it, maybe.
I mean, I'm only about halfway through the first book in the trilogy. It's been out a while. I just don't have all the time in the world to read like I would like.
I have no time ever, and I just recently bought a Switch. I was telling Corey this. I bought a Switch, and you were watching me play Zelda Breath of the Wild as you came out. I bought it 3 days ago.
Jeez, dude.
And so I go to bed normally at 10, so I can wake up at 6:30 and go to work. I've gone to sleep at like 1 a.m. the past 2 nights in a row.
Oh man,
Still
doesn't it
getting
feel
up
like
for
high
work.
school
And
again?
I'm like, oh my gosh, I've lost all responsibility. Who am I? It's just like, I'm so tired right now.
Ethan, you have an addiction.
So
Yeah, that's my
tired.
life.
Gosh.
Oh goodness.
Because I hear people at work, because I work with a lot of developers, and a lot of them are gamers that
Yeah.
are my age, and so like I hear them talk about things. They're like, "Man, I was up till 3 last night playing Overwatch." I'm like, "I'm so glad I
Oh,
don't
but
do
that's-
that." And then now here I am doing it with Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, oh gosh.
God.
Anyway, Star Wars.
You're
yeah,
watching
I'll-
a podcast about nerds. It's gonna go.
I'll eventually read some books, but
Yeah. So
yeah, we
they.
agree the casino part was pretty slow.
And-
That's when I really felt the slow part of this.
Yeah, that
because
that's
that
where
was
it
going
dips.
nowhere real fast. Them
And
getting
technically, it ultimately.
it went nowhere.
It literally. The
they
whole
made it
plan
so
was
much harder
botched.
for everyone else
'Cause they
killed
got
so
caught.
many people because they made these mistakes.
Yes,
and this guy
like-
just made money off of them, and then they killed just dozens of the escape pods.
decimated
because they
the
were
rest of the
planned.
resistance.
Like, I was just like,
Like-
what is, like, okay, well, that's something I like. I love. So I don't like trailers. I hate them.
I know.
Because they reveal so many things. However, there's
These
a trailer,
did not.
One of the trailers
Yeah.
they didn't, but they. I felt like they alluded to it, and I called a lot of it because in the trailer, in one of the trailers, there's a part where they're like, "Great light, great dark," and then you hear the Luke say his line where he's like, "This is not going to go the way you think it's
Yeah.
going to go." And
I mean, it's
that's
true.
what happened in this.
Literally
movie.
the whole movie.
Tons of
Yeah.
things, but there's a point where they like talk about great light, and when they say that word in the trailer, you see Rey, and then
Yeah.
when they say great dark, you see Kylo. And I'm like, obviously they're playing with the fact that either one of these guys is pulled towards the other end, because Kylo has mentioned that he's pulled towards the light. He could feel the light pulling him,
Yeah.
and we saw early on when Luke was teaching Rey to connect
She
with the
gets
Force, she
pulled
went
into the
straight to
dark.
the darkness.
Yeah.
Like she ran towards.
gave her
what
that it
Luke
was-
said.
Giving her the answer she wanted.
And I was
and-
like, boom, this is
And it still
obviously
didn't
nothing's going to work
fit.
out in this film and everyone's going to die. This is like,
A lot of people die in this movie.
I was thinking about that earlier. It was like, if you could just sum up the plots of all these movies with like a couple words or a sentence, it would be like, this one would be most people die. Because Rogue One was everybody died.
Every
Spoiler alert.
Suicide
I hope you've
mission.
seen that movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Just like,
Oh man.
man, David and I talked about that afterwards. We were just talking about it. And he was
Yeah,
like,
it was-
I knew a lot of people were going to die. I didn't think they were all going to die.
Well,
They all died.
here's the thing. I kind of went into
A
it
planet of
assuming it
people
because
died.
it's like they don't want to. They also probably don't want to have to explain. Well, where were they in the original trilogy? They weren't
Yeah.
there.
Correct, yeah. Nope.
Like
It's going to tie up all those loose ends.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
They all went out in really cool ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I cried a little bit.
So what?
A lot.
What happened? So the other thing that's happening is
Is Rey's training,
Rey's training.
and
Yes.
she's having these force
That's right. She's having these
interactions
visions of
force
Homeboy.
FaceTiming,
Those were
whatever.
so cool.
with it was.
Force FaceTime.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of weird force Skype, whatever.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Though. I mean,
And-
she was,
and it was-
her and Kylo
Yeah,
were
they
connected.
they were mind linked, and it was great because that was a new force ability we've never seen. This movie has several of them, but
well,
this
kind of, because I mean we talk about oh gosh, what Luke did.
at the end.
Yes, projection, force projection. That's the word. We'll get to that. I'm just,
Not as I-
we will follow. We'll go in order. It's kind of the force projection that shows up. I hear it shows up in Rebels. Someone does it in Rebels. I think Yoda. Excuse me, sorry. Yoda does it in
believe
Rebels
it.
to talk to one of the people. I think it's in season 3 or later.
I don't know
So
if
that
he,
is
like,
one thing that we
shows up
saw.
or if he's just voiced. I'm not sure on that one.
Also, Yoda's in this movie. Spoiler
Yes.
Yes.
alert. Holy crap! And he's a god.
I was kind of upset that Obi-Wan
Like,
wasn't
he-
in it too, but
I see. I am too. Because that's the, so like.
I mean, his voice was in the last one.
That's the only thing that I'm weirded out about is because like we don't need all these mysteries. We don't need Rey to be this magical person with a huge destiny. She can be a nobody. But why in turn did she hear Obi-Wan and Yoda?
Because they were calling to her as
Most
force
probably
ghosts.
because
Like,
they were, yeah.
yeah.
And so just like, but like that really did seem like it meant more than just nothing, more than just hey, because anybody could have called to her from the Force. Where was Qui-Gon? I mean, we know he's a Force ghost and that
Yeah,
he's
well,
awesome.
and then there's
Hashtag Where's my Qui-Gon? I want to see him so much more.
Dude, we're probably gonna get him in the Obi-Wan. He'd just be a Force ghost.
It won't be Liam Neeson.
Actually, he'd be disembodied
Well,
because Liam Neeson, because
he's-
technically Qui-Gon,
Was he cut in half?
Yeah.
No, you stabbed through his
He
chest.
stabbed the chest. That's right.
But with
Clone Wars cut in
Qui-Gon,
half. I can't wait. I see. So I haven't gotten to the point where you see Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, right?
he's in Rebels as
He's
well.
in Rebels as well, but he's in the Clone Wars.
He
for a
hasn't.
bit.
I've seen those. There's an
I
episode.
love Darth Maul.
Darth Maul is so cool.
He's
There's a new comic about him. There's
so
some old
big.
comics about him. But there's an episode called Twin Sons. It's in season 3 of Rebels. I went out of my way to watch it just because I heard about it. It is so good. And
You know what?
because Darth Maul is in it. Or Darth Maul's in a lot of Rebels, but it ties Obi-Wan and Darth Maul's story up, basically.
Gotcha.
In an incredible way, and I'll leave it at that.
That's cool. Do you remember the 2D animated Clone Wars?
Yes.
Shorts?
Oh, dude, that
Those
was
things
cool.
Were so cool.
That was never canon, though. That was never canon.
Don't care. I want to watch.
But it
it
was
again.
so cool.
I saw a
It's
GIF
on
of it
YouTube.
recently.
They've got an entire. I probably saved it, but there's an entire, however long video. It's just all of them.
Right. There's a GIF I saw recently. It was just like when everybody dies in your party and you're the last one there, like Overwatch or Halo or something, and it's just a stormtrooper and he just murders 6 droids. It's
one of them.
yes, that's so good.
Oh, one of the clone troopers. Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, we're talking
Anyway,
about
so
The Last
we
Jedi. Right, we talked about Force.
They're
things
having
that
their
happen.
Force-
Right, yeah.
visions of each other, and it's really. I really thought that was something cool, something different. And
Something
and
what
We
I
got to
thought
see
was
her
really
shoot
cool
a hole
about
through the
it-
wall.
Yeah,
we got
that was
to
funny, but,
see the
like,
extent of Kylo's scar. I didn't realize
yeah.
it ran like all the way up his body
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
He got wrecked.
Yeah, he did. But so there's a little bit in there where Kylo says that he can only see Rey, but
Can see
Rey
his
can see his Kylo and his entire surroundings.
Oh, does she? I thought she only saw him.
No, she could see his entire surroundings.
I
'Cause
think
he
it probably
asked where
depended
she
on which
is.
connection.
He asked where she was, and he's like, "I can see you." He's like, "I can see you, but nothing
Yeah, it's
around
when they're
you."
first
And
talking
she
about
said
it,
he's-
something about
talking, yeah.
she could see. She mentioned that she could see everything.
No, she's just talking about him. She knows everything
Oh,
she
like
needs
yeah,
to know.
yeah. Like she can see
she's-
him.
Yeah, she's
I think that's
yeah, she's not talking about his surroundings.
I probably
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm seeing it
'cause-
again next week. I will confirm.
Because he is because he's trying to figure this whole thing out. She's just ranting and raving at him.
Yeah.
right.
And he even says, "How is this happening?" Which kind of should have given it away, but
Well, yeah,
I
it's
just
cool.
thought they were connected.
It's cool because
naturally,
you
by
get
the
the sense that he is aware that someone can do
something
this.
else has to be
Well,
doing this.
You get the sense that this is something that has maybe happened before, because what he says is when he first sees her, he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like,
how
"No,
how
there's
is
no
this
way."
happening? The effort would kill you.
Right.
He
'cause
says that.
So he obviously he's assuming that there's a way to do this. He's not blown away by the fact that it's happening, but more so
Right.
by the fact that it's happening with her.
Yeah.
And that the way.
Well,
it's
because
happening-
later in one of
that he
the
didn't
next
initiate it.
ones where he's like looking down at all the stormtroopers and stuff getting ready when he's on that balcony, and when she's in the rain, when he turns around and he
he's wet.
yeah, well
Yeah.
that too, but it was he asked, "Why is the Force connecting us like this?"
Right,
Because
right.
because he seems to think it's just a natural connection, and I
Right,
thought
I
it would have been an interesting thing if somehow they're just naturally connected somehow, and turns out it was Snoke the whole time, which was
It's Snoke,
whole lots of things were just
the Troll Master, Snoke himself.
Well, yeah.
Also, I love a good troll. That's probably why I like this movie. Because
Right.
this is
Here's
a
the thing:
troll.
a lot of people were think he made a lot of these decisions where to take the movie out of spite. He was writing this movie when The Force Awakens was coming out.
Yeah.
Like, he was already writing it before that movie even premiered. So he wasn't just trying to be a jerk and say, "Ha, no, your theory's wrong. I'm just not going to let it be right." He was ahead of it already.
Right.
Like, he was making his decisions. If you've seen any of his other movies, he does some crazy stuff. Like, if you've seen, like, Brick or Looper, those are great movies. And that's why I was so excited for him to be the director of this movie, because he does great things with characters. And that's what this movie was. It wasn't more as much about the action and all. It was more about the characters.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is something we don't always get we haven't gotten from Star Wars, because they tried with the prequels, but they botched it.
Yeah.
Like, it was about the spectacle.
So anyway, that's going on with Rey and with Kylo. Also, another interesting thing that's happening on the ship is that while Leia is basically in a coma, we get a new...
Vice Admiral Holdo.
Yes.
She is actually a character from one of the new books, the one I mentioned earlier, the one about just Leia growing up. They've been friends since they were children.
And I like that. And I got the sense of that,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that I was able to tell that they really were good
Yeah.
friends. I liked her a lot.
She's apparently a very kooky character. Like, I heard one person that described her was like Luna Lovegood, but in space. Because that explains like the purple hair and stuff.
Probably a little more cunning, a little more shrewd.
Probably.
I say that I like her. I like how I felt throughout the movie regarding her and her character, in that I didn't trust her for a very long time.
And then she gave you every reason
and
to
then
trust
she was
her.
the best person ever.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I
holy
thought-
crap,
I
that was
totally
cool.
thought she was
Don't get me
like
wrong.
a first order operative. or
Right, I
something.
thought she was the end of the string that they were talking about.
Yeah.
And Kylo was explaining, or someone was explaining to Snoke
Yeah.
how they have them on a string.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Which
thought
now
that's
Actually, I
I'm
didn't even
realizing
think of it that
was
way.
that was
that's
the
what I thought it
tracking.
was. I guess it was,
I
which is
think
just
that-
so
Yeah,
it was
strange
just-
because
yeah.
But that's what I thought it was, and I guess they played it up so it would be that.
Well,
we were supposed to
they
think
also
that.
they kind of figured out the tracking thing early on, so it kind of depends. I guess it depends on
So-
you miss something.
Yeah, but oh gosh, she's so cool, and the visual.
Hold on
Her
now.
hyperspace
Before we get to
is
that,
big.
can I just say that all of the lead up with her though was like when I go back and watch it, I'm annoyed. I'm furious. Like, why couldn't she just tell Poe? This is what's happening.
Because
it would have been
he got a
so
bunch of people
simple.
killed.
It would have been
That is
so
true.
simple, and you would have she would have relieved a lot of tension for the entire crew if she wasn't just like keeping this all to herself and maybe like the two people around her. That kind of made me mad in retrospect.
get
It
that.
stressed me out because she could have just
Yeah.
alleviated some issues if she had just
if she'd
told
been
it.
more, if she'd been more transparent, there
Yeah.
would have been a lot
But
less.
there's also the thing. As much as we were thinking she was a spy, I'm sure someone on there was thinking there were spies on the ship. So she
Possibly.
didn't want that information as far out
Right.
as it. And she
I
certainly
guess.
wasn't going to give it to a hothead who had just gotten a whole bunch of people killed,
Right.
and a whole bunch of ships lost.
and
Once
They
he
lost,
starts- once he
their
starts
whole-
freaking-
they lost their whole bomber fleet. When
Once
you think
he-
about that, like all of their bombers are gone.
Calls her out though, goes on the bridge, is like, "Why don't you tell us something that there's hope?" And then she gives the little inspirational quote, but it's like, okay, but that's not helping here. We are gonna die.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then he notices that she's fueling up the transports, and he just flips on her,
Yeah.
and she could. I guess it's for dramatic purposes. I get it, but
Right.
little
It
things
is a
like that
movie.
just don't make sense, and it just
Right.
Well, I mean-
it's only for dramatic purposes. Is all
right.
it was.
And then shortly after that, Poe basically is the leader of a mutiny and
Yeah.
locks her
Yarg.
up for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get past that. They get onto the ship, and Poe and Finn and Rose and DJ get onto the ship.
Right after being rescued
Yeah.
by DJ
And
from that
then
planet.
they get on the ship and they get caught, of course, because
Yep.
those
Because
missions
they're
never go well.
supposed to. And we
Those-
see Phasma again.
For
And I'm like,
I honestly don't. I can't decide if she's dead or not.
she can't be.
She's not dead.
She's
Oh,
super
God.
not
Nah,
dead.
she's not dead.
There's
So there's a really cool moment with Phasma. She has so much potential. And
she has
it
so
seems
much.
like-
There's an entire book on her now. There's
What?
an
Good.
entire book about her.
Hopefully there's something where she's cool.
Yeah.
Because like,
'Cause she
in the
hasn't-
first one she was
She is the
nothing,
Boba Fett of this trilogy.
But she's cool. We see her do much cooler stuff than him. Like, she's not a bumbling idiot. She
Right.
just
Thank
doesn't
you.
get a whole lot of
Yeah, because
opportunity
Boba
to
Fett.
shine.
Let's be real.
Moron.
He
Stupid.
in 5, what did he do? He literally just flew after Han in there. He stalked Han and he tracked him down. Congratulations. We don't really see him doing much of it on screen.
Congrats.
And
Batman can do
then
that with
when
a tracking device.
when they get to Cloud City, he does nothing on Cloud City. He
does
literally just stands there the whole
all
time.
of it.
And when Han's frozen, he just kind of walks the thing out to his ship and takes off. That's it. That's all he did in 5. He's so cool though. He looks so mysterious.
He's the dumbest
He
thing.
did nothing. He
Django
did not
was
deserve
cool.
it. Django was
Django
cool.
was
Django.
Django didn't come out till 20 plus years later. But
That's
still.
why they made Stormtroopers
Yeah.
from him. He's so.
But, like-
was that said in the original trilogy
What?
that he was that Boba Fett's original clone Poppy was the one that they made the clones out of? Was that knowledge then, or was that like a revelation in the prequel trilogy that Jango was?
Well, I mean, we never had.
I'm
Well, no,
pretty
well,
sure that was in the prequels.
no. Stormtroopers are not clones. Stormtroopers are just people
I did not
that
know
apply.
that. I
Yeah,
thought
okay.
they were clones
Yeah,
of Clones.
yeah. Okay, so
how
that's
they
when you
started.
have to dig a
I
little
know that's how
deeper.
they
That's the Clone
started.
Wars.
I thought that's how they stayed though.
No,
because a
no.
lot of them switched over in
After a
Order
while, they
66.
started like they aged a little faster, and
Gotcha,
then
so they
and
had to get rid of them. Okay, cool.
not so much. Some of them,
no.
but
I think.
Well, but
There's-
clones still exist though because
some of them do. Some
No,
do.
no, okay, so in episode 7, remember, I'm pretty sure
Right,
that
They
just replaced
Kylo
Stormtroopers were
Kylo
clones.
makes that comment about them because but notice that none of the stormtroopers in this like Finn
Yeah.
clearly isn't
None
a
of them-
clone.
yeah, none of
well,
them
that's just
are.
how it was. There was like the Imperial Academy.
I
People
think,
would
I think
sign
the
up as
First
children.
Order stormtroopers they're just people that have
Yeah.
been
They are.
Well, no. It's
Right,
But
it's
all of the original
confirmed that
trilogy,
the original trilogy they are not clones. They phased out the clones. There's something called the Imperial Academy where it's basically the Hitler Youth.
Gotcha.
It kind of turns into that. Kids get signed up as like in A New Hope. Luke talked about wanting to join the Imperial Academy because he
That's
didn't
true.
before because he just didn't know all sides of everything. But so that's where people were raised and become stormtroopers or officers or whatever. But so it was just shortly after the Clone Wars, they were there for a while and they eventually phased them out and brought in the stormtroopers to replace the clone troopers.
Neato.
makes sense.
Anyway, Jango's cool. Boba's dumb.
Yes,
Phasma.
Boba in 6, Boba gets beaten by a blind Han Solo and a Jedi that's still kind of working on his skills.
Yeah.
Right.
Nah.
Like he gets beat real easy and he goes out like a punk. Sorry,
What's his
fight me.
What's his race, religion thing?
He's a Mandalorian.
I hear that they're really boss.
The Mandalorians are awesome.
And I'd
He
love to
is
see-
not
yeah,
one
he's
of
not.
them.
I feel like he's
Don't
a
get me
very
wrong.
poor
In
representation.
all the old books, it was like he crawls out of the Sarlacc pit.
Right,
all this
like 3 times.
never counted. None of it counted. Get over it.
Yeah,
I. There's so
Jango-
much cool stuff, but
Jango was at least cool. For
doesn't
me.
count.
But anyway, Phasma, I think there's so much potential with her, and there's a moment when she gets shot with a blaster, and
Yeah, her
it hangs
armor
off of her,
just-
and I was like, that is awesome.
She didn't.
Right.
That is so
she didn't
cool.
flinch.
No.
She just took that
Yes,
shot and just
it was so cool.
attacked.
I was like, there's
Yeah.
no way you are dead. There's no way she's
Yeah,
dead.
hopefully.
Definitely.
Hopefully she just fell through.
She got out of a trash
she got to a
compactor on
ship.
a planet that was destroyed. There's no way she's dead from this. She's
Yeah, there's
fine.
no way. But yeah, so leading into that, we get the shot, which is why I went to see it in IMAX. And that shot is so. All the transports are off, and Haldo's the only one left on the ship. She's piloting the ship, and she turns around, charges to light speed, and spears through.
Yes.
It was so
Oh,
cool.
that
Like-
is one of the greatest shots in Star Wars
As
history.
soon as she went to light speed, like all the
Just-
sound just goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah,
and
just-
it's pure visuals.
So good.
And it's just like
Oh.
so much contrast between light and dark. Like it's just like
It is
really
beautiful.
super bright white light.
Yeah, just
cracks
each
in
Star
the-
Destroyer just getting boom, boom, boom.
Good.
and then
It is
a
beautiful.
huge explosion.
Gosh,
It
it's
is
good.
Gorgeous.
incredible.
Is that a big nerdgasm?
Yes, like
It was a really good shot, though.
I
Honestly,
gasped. Like I just went. I gasped and just put my hand in front of my face because I was so amazed because it's a beautiful shot and seeing it in IMAX is definitely worth
I think
the
it
extra
was one of
$5
those-
just to see it once.
I think it was one of the better composed
Yeah,
shots. Of
it
the
is
movie.
incredible
Really cool.
and
It's good. I like the fight with Phasma. I like that we got to see Finn wielding a weapon that he knew how to use.
That was cool.
that was. I mean, he was trained to use that.
What was
Yes,
really cool about that, like, look, the confidence that Finn had that he's
Yes.
he was
never had
ready.
yet.
He
I
was
love
just
him
Like,
ready.
He
for
had
it.
so much resolve in that.
So
He was-
okay with
I don't
him
know, when
fighting
he was-
again and again.
In
Just
Force
have
Awakens, he was pretty determined to try and fight Kylo.
He
got
was.
whooped.
He was determined, but
But-
for him, like at that point, that was. I mean, he knew how screwed he was.
Yeah,
and he had to
but
try
he
to do
was
something.
ready to
I feel
fight
like He
anyway.
was fighting for Rey at
Yeah.
that point too.
He-
But, like,
he was definitely-
This time it was him and Rose against Phasma, and but just the look of determination and resolve on
Yeah.
his face.
Oh, he
like,
charges and just
this was the
jumps
point
into
where, like,
it.
yeah.
I felt like he was hardcore for the rebellion. Now.
Yes, he is
that
absolutely
was
part
his
of it.
tipping point.
That's kind of what the entire Canto Bight thing served to do, was to
Yeah.
really bring him on board. Because
Right.
well, I guess we kind of skipped over some of the stuff in the throne room. We get another throne room scene.
Gosh, yes. Oh,
So-
okay, yeah, right. So Rey believes that
Kylo will turn.
Kylo will
and-
turn if she shows
Yeah,
up.
they're in the elevator.
So
Yeah.
she leaves Luke and goes to the
To the
Snoke's
Supremacy.
ship.
The Supremacy is the name of the ship, of course.
Didn't know
Supreme
Man,
leadership.
the way she traveled to that ship is gotta be the scariest thing.
I will.
She got in a casket and just flew
That
out
is
into
true.
space.
That yes.
That, I was
Oh
like,
my God.
nah. No
I,
thanks.
I saw it.
I'll die.
Because you see her get in, I just figured it'd be a regular sized escape pod, and then it
Nope.
goes to the wide shot of them in space after it launched, and it's a casket, and I'm just like, nope, nope, you're a tougher woman than I, because
Terrifying. Yeah,
you're
no.
literally in a casket floating through space.
Yeah, she's basically at the whim of this ship.
Let's talk about symbolism.
They could have just not picked up the ship in a tractor
Yeah.
beam, and they could just,
Yeah.
could have just floated on.
So yeah,
forever
she gets
to, like,
sucked in, and of
super
course
dive.
Kylo's the one that meets her, because
Right.
of course he probably sensed it. He gets her, and they go into the elevator. We have kind of a Return of the Jedi feel there, because it's kind of the same conversation Luke had with Vader.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
feel the conflict in you, and so they get there, and then Snoke goes on his supervillain rant,
Name of
and
every supervillain.
he makes it very apparent that he is a powerful being, because
Gosh, he's cool.
she
He's super
can't
powerful.
move. She
No.
tries to get that lightsaber back, and he just spins it around and
whips it
pops her
around.
in the head with it,
Yeah.
and just pops and right back to his side.
It's
And
super cool.
so yeah,
It's good. It's neat that like it's his own pride though that kills him.
I mean that's what
This
killed
is-
the Emperor.
Right.
Right.
And he was like, because he was so
was-
so convinced that Kylo was
he had
what
won.
he wanted
thought
him to
he
be,
had won,
and then he got cut in half.
that was such.
That was so cool.
Your Snoke theory sucks.
My only gripe about that entire shot was that they showed the lightsaber turning, because I kind of feel like I would have
Right.
preferred to
Yeah.
just see him talk, like hear Snoke talking, watch Kylo pretend about to stab Rey, and then all of a sudden the blue lightsaber ignites out of
would've been-
nowhere.
yeah,
that's
that
just
would've been
that's just a
really
little
cool.
nitpicky on my part, but it's still just so cool because that was he didn't see it coming.
Nah.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Oh man,
So neat.
What's
Oh,
weird about
God.
it is like he was narrating his own death.
Yes.
He's like, I can sense your resolve. I see you twisting
Twisting
the
your
blade
leg.
to strike true.
Yeah.
and strikes down his true enemy and just right through the side.
Yeah.
And then not only does it hold there for a second, and then he pulls it out,
Yep.
And,
it just-
you know,
boom, flops over. That was
and then the Praetorian
hilarious.
Guard fight.
And yes, that
So
was
good.
cool.
Yes.
I love
That's-
that-
their
the coolest fight.
energy weapons to fight against
Yes.
lightsabers and stuff.
Yeah.
That is
Which
cool.
I don't know if we've seen since those droids from the prequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Grievous's bodyguards. They had they had the electrical
Little
staffs.
laser staffy things.
And
freaking there's a cool scene with them in 3. So I honestly really do like episode 3, just because of a lot of the fights we get to see. But when Yoda walks into Palpatine's office
he just
and there's 2 of them right there, and he's just like, nah, and just
Not even
crushes
put-
them.
not even trying.
It's so cool. Yoda's
Just effortless.
such a boss.
no. Yeah, Yoda was yeah.
Anyways, this fight was great. Yeah,
Yes.
I loved it. I love seeing a little bit of the struggle between them. I loved it when Kylo just grabbed. What is it? It's the end of the fight. Rey throws a lightsaber. To
lightsaber,
Kylo,
and
and
he-
he just turns it on in his face.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
that was-
so
there's a lot of
satisfying.
like he like there that fight was brutal.
Yeah,
The
it was
kills in there,
nuts.
like he that one dude that gets pushed into that thing and it just grinds him, and all you see is the armor just explode outward.
Yeah.
It's like holy this guy just got turned to meat.
There was, I think, my favorite part of that was like towards the end. I think there was like maybe 2 of the guards left, and one of them is like currently beating Kylo. Kylo's like in a deadlock with him, and then the other one's like got Rey and is like forcing her own lightsaber down on him. And like Kylo, they show Kylo look towards Rey, and then Rey looks towards Kylo, and like she looks back, and she's like powers down her lightsaber, drops and spins out of his
Right,
thing,
yeah.
like,
And just
grabs
runs
his
him
backhand
through.
and spins around and like cuts his throat or
Oh
something.
no,
It was
yeah,
so
she just goes
good.
straight through his butt.
Yeah, so cool.
And she's
And then that's
Yeah.
when I think
That's a
when she
little-
throws the
she's
lightsaber, right?
literally untrained, and I'm like, let's get a time skip where they're trained, and let's have a
That's the thing.
frickin'
She clearly knows how to handle the
saber
weapon. She
fight.
knows how to
Let's go.
fight. That's my
Yes.
thing. Like she shows that she knows how to use the staff, so she has some kind of fighting ability naturally.
Right.
So just just
Likely had to
naturally
fight to stay alive
talented.
Right.
So picking up the lightsaber just worked.
Yeah.
I can live with it. Like Snoke even says, you were beaten by a girl who'd never held a lightsaber. She's just
Look
that
here,
great.
sir. I was just hit with a very powerful blaster.
Yeah, like-
just killed my dad. You need to step off,
I need you
sir.
to chill for a minute. Can you please? Oh my goodness. So we kind of, I guess I can't remember. Because then we go back to Act 2 with Luke. We see Yoda again for the first time.
Right. Yeah, this is all
Yoda, and it's puppet Yoda, and it looks great.
Yeah, it is puppet Yoda.
Yeah, and it's still Frank Oz doing the voice, and I remember the entire theater the first time, every time I've seen it, because there's still people in there that were seeing it for the first time, and just when I saw it for the first time, I wish I could have seen the expression on my face, because I just smiled so hard, because you just see the back of his head out of nowhere, and it's just... Yes, we're back.
I figured we'd have Yoda.
Yeah, Luke's walking up
Yeah.
to burn down the tree with the books and all that, and just see the back of Yoda's head.
Did Rey take the book?
She did.
Yeah, okay. That's
So
what I
so
figured.
when she's getting
That's
ready,
right. When I saw them later on, I was like,
yeah,
okay.
okay. So when she's getting ready to get into the escape pod on the Falcon, she's rummaging through that door. It's a really quick shot. If
Right,
you blink
you
and
see
you
it. That's
miss
what
it,
I
the
thought.
books are in there.
Yeah.
And then you see him later when
X.
Finn is going through that same drawer at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So she saves the books.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved having Yoda there to talk. I figured he would show up. I was happy that he did.
Yes.
I loved having him there to talk to Luke, to give him another lesson, teach him more stuff, show his knowledge, because Yoda's been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah, he was 900 years
Yeah,
old.
That whole dialogue was just hilarious.
Yes, because it was
He's like,
classic
"Look, fool."
Yoda, just bringing Luke down a notch. Like, get off your ass and do something.
So it was like,
Always looking to the
I'm
horizon.
gonna burn the tree and the original Jedi text down. Don't you try to stop me.
And
then he pauses.
He wants to do it, but he can't.
And then Yoda
Yoda's
does
just like, lightning bolt. Light tree goes up his flame.
Summons a storm out of nowhere. Like
He's a god. He's
I
crazy.
do like
I
that
don't
we
like-
get to see Obi-Wan's declaration brought to
Yeah.
finally come true, because it's like, you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you ever imagine.
Yeah, that's right.
Clearly.
Like,
Yes.
they
Because he
weren't-
literally just affected the entire
they weren't
atmosphere
just,
around
they're not
him.
just ghosts that
Yeah.
can project, but like
Right.
they can actually manipulate.
So use the
physical
Force
world.
in
Yeah.
incredible ways.
Yeah.
And like,
That's
so yeah, that
Yeah, I
scene.
liked the conversation they had, and I liked the understanding that it was like this fear of failure.
but
that
it's
was
the
really
greatest
holding things
teacher.
Back, but failure is the greatest teacher, right?
Yeah.
And
Failure is
so-
what you need.
I know for me,
And you need to
personally, it
pass
was very
this on.
motivational.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I
yeah,
just
I am
gotta.
terrified of failure.
Right, I think a
personally,
lot of
and that
people
holds
are.
me back so much.
Yeah, and
And
that's
Luke
that's,
always was, and that's
Yes.
why he broke down.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And I think it was good to see that, because a lot of things that happened in this movie is a failure. A lot of things that went about in this movie failed.
Yeah.
A lot of plans they had laid did not work. A lot of people died. The Resistance was barely alive at the end of this movie.
Yeah, it's a few. It's maybe a few
And
dozen
Really
people.
proud.
It's
A dozen or so people on
Luke's
the
been-
Millennium Falcon.
Luke's been looking at Kylo as his failure this whole time, or as that he failed Kylo. But like, if he had just picked himself up from that,
Yeah.
rather than letting that
Literally
make him-
going to
yeah.
what he called the most unfindable place in the
Right,
galaxy.
yeah, rather than exiling himself and
I
cutting himself off
came
with
here
the
to
Force.
die. That was dark when he said that too. It's
Yeah,
like I
right.
didn't. I came here to die.
I appreciate
Jeez.
though. So many people I think don't like the way he went out. I'm okay with the way he went out because
Hold on, let's get to that
it
after.
will, but
Let's-
it's just so
yes,
cool.
it's-
I just ugh.
So yeah, he talks to Yoda, and we have our great inspirational speech. We go to the throne room, and then we're now on.
Well, Kylo. The thing that happened at the end of the throne was when Kylo.
Yes, when Kylo is just unconscious after their Force thing.
Well, no, not when he's unconscious. Is when they have a conversation. Kylo
Yeah,
and
when
Ren
they,
have a
yeah,
conversation.
when
And
they
he's like-
after they
he's like-
kill all the guards.
He's like, here, join me. We can rule everything. Let everything burn. I was like, but Kylo, you're so close to being cool.
No, I appreciated that because I want.
Right, it's a good setup for the next movie.
It's a great
It's a
setup for
great
him
setup
as
for a
being the true villain of this trilogy.
Do we think
He
he'll
is the-
turn? I think he'll turn.
I don't want him to, and I would appreciate him as a character more if he stays in the dark.
Okay.
Because they've set him up to be this villain, the villain, and he murdered his father in cold blood, and he's now more or less responsible for the death of Luke Skywalker. Like, I don't want this guy to live.
More or less responsible for the death of his mother, probably, or would have been, had she not been
Everyone's kind of, my
Force-sensitive.
best guess, and a lot of people seem to go with this, because Carrie Fisher passed, they're probably just going to put it in the opening crawl that Leia has passed, or something like that. Because
I've heard thoughts that we'll do a time skip.
Yeah.
And that she'll have passed during that, and we'll lead to a point where Kylo's maybe he's called upon his knights, and we've gotten to this point. Anyway, that's in the future. Where are we right now? Right. Kylo does the thing where he invites her, and it doesn't happen. They both get knocked out somehow.
Yeah, they both struggle to. So
That's right, they fight each other.
she tries to grab the Skywalker lightsaber away, and he pulls back, and they have that force battle again, and
the
it
lightsaber
just rips it in half.
Explodes.
That's right.
The Kyber,
That's when
I think
that
the
breaks.
crystal gets.
No, the crystal's still there.
Yeah, you can see the crystal
it later on.
No,
in
but
the
I'm
movie.
saying, I know the crystal's there, but I think the crystal gets broken in half.
Maybe we never see
looked
it.
like crap.
We never see
That's
the
how it
inside of the lightsaber
I
from
think
the
it's
other
just,
angle.
It's encasing is
Yeah,
what.
the actual lightsaber itself. This lightsaber that's been around for
over
half a century.
Yeah.
Because it was because he had it for about 3. Anakin used that lightsaber for 3 years or so during the Clone Wars, because he had his original that gets broken in Attack of the Clones, and he gets that temporary one, and then throughout the Clone Wars he uses that one,
Right on.
and then that gets passed on to Luke, so that's a 22, 23 year gap, and then
Wait, no, is it
Luke
that
uses it. Yeah, Luke
uses
was a baby.
Obi-Wan's? I thought Luke used.
No, I'm saying like
eventually gets a green one. Right?
like the Anakin's lightsaber that Luke
Right.
gets in Episode 4. That lightsaber. So that was that lightsaber at that time when he first got it in Episode 4. It had been around for like 24 years, 22, 23.
Cool.
And then there's about, I think the overall time lapse between 4, 5, 6 is like 5 years. If I'm not mistaken, if I get my dates
Sounds right.
And then it's about and they said it was about a 35-year gap between 6 and 7. So this lightsaber is
been around the
over
block.
50 years old, and it's done a lot of things.
history.
It's
Caused a lot of history.
it's part of galactic history at this. Yeah, exactly. Like
Right.
it destroyed a lot of droids. It killed a lot of younglings.
But regardless, that's the point when they're both unconscious, and Rey obviously wakes up before Kylo and just gets out.
Yeah,
of there
she grabs the
instead of
pieces.
killing him. But whatever.
She doesn't want to be a cold-blooded murderer.
Wouldn't kill people yet, I guess.
It means
and then we
she
have that-
literally just killed a
We
bunch of
haven't-
guards.
We haven't
Like, let's
talked
be-
about Hawks a lot, but
Hux is Space Hitler, and it's
he's
kind of funny.
So funny.
He is.
And there's a moment when like he walks in on Kylo and he like
And
just
yeah,
reaches
and he
for his gun, and then
reaches
Kylo
for
wakes
his
up and he's just
blaster.
like- that's a really funny visual joke. I
Oh.
love that
That's
so
hilarious.
much.
It was so simple. It's just
Nope, never mind.
and the expression on his face doesn't change. He just knows that he is doing wrong. He just knows,
He knows that his
it's
time has passed.
he knows that he missed his
Oh,
window of
I love-
opportunity.
I love Kylo putting him in his place several times.
Oh yeah, because
He's like, Supreme Leader's dead.
the Supreme
He's
was
like,
dead, and all of a
"Excuse
sudden, he starts choking, and you get that shot of Kylo finally doing the Force choke.
Yeah,
And that was when I was like, yes, I really approve of Kylo now. He is
let's go.
going. And then so we get down to Crate, the mineral planet, and they are in the most beaten down possible place they could find.
definitely
That
true.
rebel base is just it's just out of
That was really cool. I really thought we were gonna lose Finn, and I was like,
yeah.
Me too.
Please,
I was
gosh, no. Because I was like, at this point, he hasn't even seen Rey since Wicked.
yeah, that
Right.
would have been
He's
the most
only
heartbreaking
heard her
thing.
voice over the comm when she
Right.
flew by in the Millennium Falcon. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please don't kill Finn. Please don't kill Finn. Thank goodness they did. I figured. See, I thought it was going to be Homegirl in his situation.
Rose.
I thought she would have been the one to stay behind and sacrifice herself because her sister's already gone, and she felt like I could imagine her feeling like she would making a good sacrifice doing that, but instead they made it Finn, and she saved him, which was cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. We just
We
see
got
both
that
of them.
miniature
And-
Death Star laser
I think it makes sense that it was Finn doing that because Poe is pretty much his best friend.
yeah,
And,
which is weird because they've known each other a week.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
they've been
Before he
together
was
a very long
unconscious
time.
for a long
Because
time.
this
But-
because 7 and 8 technically take place over the course of about a week.
Yeah, I mean, but Poe is the first person besides, the First Order that Finn found, first person that he bonded with, and Poe is a wild gun, but
Finn
wants to.
Throughout this movie, Poe is actually learning. He takes all of it to heart. As soon as Holdo's dead, he really you see that change in him, and I really appreciated it.
I felt like Finn was trying to follow him, but Finn saw in Poe, or he's Poe does all these crazy things. This is what a hero's rebellion is supposed to do. So he was trying to emulate Poe in that sense, and then Rose saved him, which was cool. And I shipped them so hard.
Because that's what heroes do.
Oh god, Ragnarok was so good.
That movie was great. Holy crap.
But yeah, so we get that little and then they crack that door open and they go in. And then Leia sits down and just kind of gives up, and then
I
was glad she got that moment with Luke.
Yeah, that was nice. I'm getting chills thinking about it now.
I just like the planet. Just for a moment, the really cool red salt.
Yeah, it's salt. No, it's salt. That white stuff is salt, and I don't know what that red is underneath. It's like this weird clay
I thought
dirt.
the red was the salt, and what was on top was snow.
No, it's salt.
The white on top was salt, because the guy in the trenches, he's like,
he grabs part.
It's salt.
I thought he licked the red part. But
No.
It's the white part.
But yeah.
And then Luke walks in.
Luke.
I think the salt comment was just to let people know that it was not Hoth.
Right.
Well, no, they straight up call it Crate. When they're leading into it, that's the planet Crate. There's a rebel base there.
Probably for the people that didn't catch that, because I didn't hear them say Crate.
Right. I liked the really cool visuals though, of just all the red popping up from the.
Yeah, it was very
really, really pretty.
Because that was one of the things in the trailers that I didn't realize it was just dirt. I thought it was them spreading some kind of gas to mess with the Imperial's line of sight or something. I thought that would have been cool.
I twigged that it was dirt, because you see it only pops up when that thing bangs into the ground.
Well, no, I'm talking about from the trailers.
Right,
that's
well,
what it made
I see that in the trailer, and that's what I thought. But
really yeah, cool. So we get Luke. We get Luke showing up.
Yes,
and there's so many things that. Oh my god!
Luke showed up.
I've cried every time.
Let's backtrack for 1 second, because what we haven't said yet is Poe, Finn, Rose, and a couple other guys. They take these really defunct speeders out that have this little landing gear that has to be attached to the ski, pretty much. Yeah. And it's maybe 5 or 6 of these little speeders going up against
13. They when they're incoming, Hux is there's 13 incoming.
Yeah. So and they're up against AT-AT walkers and
the new I can't remember what the name
walkers.
of them.
Yeah. And so what was their plan at that? They were trying to solve. They were trying to stop the
until
giant,
it got close enough.
Laser battering ram.
Well, because they had sent out a distress signal. They were trying to get any
they were trying to stall for time
at all to come, and they were no one's coming.
Right, and there's this big laser battering ram gun that was going to blow down the door where all the rebels were hiding.
It's miniaturized Death Star technology. Holy crap!
So that was their whole mission. And then. During that, they started losing speeders left and right, and there was down to just a couple of them left.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4
and
left.
Poe was this is where you get to see all of Poe's growth throughout this movie with everything. He's no, it's not worth it. We're getting out of here.
Right,
pull back.
Because he says it is a suicide run turnaround.
Yeah, and that's when Finn's no,
we've got to.
I've got to do this.
Yeah,
right.
And
he wants to prove himself.
So that was really great because you got to see Poe's growth through that, which is leading up into something coming up very soon.
Yes, because there's also a comic now. I can't remember if it's ongoing or if it wrapped up because it was limited run. But there's a comic about Poe that eventually is apparently going to lead into where he starts in episode 7, and but a lot of it is about Leia's literally trying to groom him to take over because she knows she's getting up there in age and she can't do this forever. So that's a lot of growth on his part, and then you just see that brought to screen in 8. Yeah.
Right. So I think it was right after Poe sounds the retreat. That's whenever Luke shows up.
Yeah.
And he has his
they go back
dialogue
in
with Leia, which is nice.
And I don't know if it's just because I know that because going into that movie, you know, Carrie Fisher passed, so I don't know if it was because I know that's the last time they'll ever be on screen together, or if the moment's just that powerful.
I think
but
it's a mix of both.
I break down every single time. It gets me.
But it's a good moment that I think they need.
Yeah, and if it's moments like that in this movie that I'm like, how can anyone hate this?
Right.
Like, this is a gut punch in the best possible way, and it just works for me.
Right after this dialogue between Luke and Leia, Luke walks outside because they've First Order's fired their cannon. They've broken through the door, the blast shield.
And everyone's
Luke walks out
staring behind him too, just amazed. Like everyone's
like, "Holy crap!"
He's gonna go out there.
It's good.
Everyone's just
so. I loved this moment because he walks out. He's in his
just so
black
cocky,
robes, and I'm like, that's
ready,
so freaking cool. Oh. And like, homeboy Kylo realizes who it is, and he's like, fire every gun.
I want every gun we have
on that man.
Him. Oh my god!
It's just.
And
so
that
barrage, like a solid minute or two.
Yeah, it was a
blasters going everywhere.
And couple seconds. Oh man, it was a long
Hux
time.
is like, dude, that's enough.
It's enough. Do you think you got him?
Yeah.
And then the dust settles, and then that little brushes his shoulder off. Yeah. No, there are a lot of people that are like, he would never do that. What?
I honestly...
He's got a sense of humor if you've watched the old movies.
I mean, yes, but I don't think he would do that either, because that's a very, like, late 2000s thing to do. That's just a joke they threw.
Don't get me wrong.
We get
I think it's more of a Han thing that it would
right.
Like Han would definitely have done that, but I think
But I think it's fine. He still would be that confident. I can forgive
it. It was his way of giving a middle finger. Exactly. It was his middle finger to Kylo. It's like, what do you got?
It's
Come
like,
on.
No, is that it? Really?
I understand that.
One quick brush of the shoulder. Because if you look close, there's nothing there, actually on his shoulder.
There's nothing because he's not there.
Yeah,
and
there's so many things. I
didn't realize that at
the first time around. It wasn't until the long shot.
Right. So like I saw that, but when they were doing that, I just assumed, okay, he doesn't get shot by anything. He's not making footprints in the sand, even though Kylo is. I assumed it was because Kylo was being reckless and because Luke was just very centered, master of the Force, doesn't have to make footprints wherever he is. He doesn't have to disturb things. He can just float around because he's amazing. Right. And when he moved around and avoided
everything, he's just moving like
that's cool. That's what I assumed he was doing when he was being shot at.
All he ever did was dodge. I think
they never actually clashed.
They
never actually clashed. He actually, when he does that duck under, he drops his lightsaber down to his side and ducks around. They never actually.
It's so cool though. I love their conversation, love their altercation. It's great.
Now, leading into it, there was one big thing. There's apparently like two big things that should give it away. Now, the haircut and stuff, it's like whatever. He got cleaned up, fine. The long shot that like because the first time we see the full him in full, we see at his side. It's not his green lightsaber. It is the lightsaber that just got broken in half on the Supremacy.
That's true.
It was blue.
I mean, the hilt itself is clearly not the one of the green lightsaber. Right. And that when I saw that, even the first time, I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
That's true. I think
And then he lights it up, and it's the blue one. It's like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. How does he have this?
That makes sense.
But I'm also getting lost in this sequence because they're going after it.
Yeah. Right.
And
it all happens.
One of the most unintentionally funny, I think, things happens. He was when they were talking back and forth. Because he says, Kylo's like, you're gonna tell me you forgive me and all that and yada, and he's like, no, I'm not here to do that. And then Luke apologizes to Kylo, and Kylo's just like, I'm sure you are. That was funnier than it probably should have been, but just because of Adam Driver's the way he delivers it's unintentionally hilarious. It's just a little more of that emo Kylo is what it is. I'm sure you are. I laugh so hard every time.
So Adam Driver did a movie once where he was roommates with Daniel Radcliffe, It's like a rom-com kind of deal, sort of, or like a play on that genre. And they're roommates, and they're like, Adam Driver's character is a really bad roommate, just a really gross guy. And they're having a conversation at the breakfast table once, and someone went back and dubbed over it and changed their voices a bit so that Adam Driver sounds like Kylo when he has his helmet on, and so that Daniel sounds more like Harry Potter from the movies. So it's like Harry Potter and Kylo Ren having a conversation.
Oh my god!
It's one of my favorite things.
I need to look that up.
It's so good.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about funny Kylo things. Anyway, this sequence is great.
And then Kylo tries and just can't even get a hit in. And then Luke gives this little epic speech of where he turns it back around.
Every word you just said,
Every word in that sentence was wrong, and the rebellion's
Yes.
reborn, and the war's just beginning, and I won't be the last Jedi. And you kind of get chills, and you're like, oh god, wait, what's about to happen? And then Kylo just rushes in and tries to cut him in half, and it's an illusion.
Like you see the lightsaber.
You watch that lightsaber go straight through his torso.
Like, seriously, for a second, I was like, "Is this going to be like an Obi-Wan thing?"
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
really
too.
thought it was.
I thought he was going to turn around. He's just gone, and he's just standing there, not even phased.
I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yes. Meanwhile, all of this has been happening. The people inside of the mine
are escaping.
Have followed the little ice critters.
Those things are so cute.
First off, here's another great Poe transformation moment. So everyone's like, no, I think it was Finn actually was like, no, we gotta
have
go
to go
help
out there
Luke.
and fight.
It's hit one person against the entire First Order. We gotta go help them. And then Poe's like, no, wait, listen. And they didn't
He's
hear.
stalling. He wants us to escape.
Yeah, he's like, no, there's something else out
There's a
here.
way to
Like,
get- yeah.
what's his play?
Because he
And
even
then-
says, how did he get in here?
Right.
Because 3PO was like, nope, that big door is the only way in or out of this place.
Right.
And they tried to
But
get him
apparently
out.
how did Luke get in was supposed to be another giveaway.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could.
But then they're like, well, maybe it was a natural out, and so they follow the
cave
crystal
in or
critters
something.
and get out.
And then we see
Right.
Homegirl moving rocks. All
Right.
the rocks. Every rock that ever was
The
moving.
Force is not about moving rocks, and maybe
here's
things
the great
float.
thing with-
And she,
Whenever Poe he leads the retreat, he's like, he notices that all the ice critters are no longer there.
Yeah.
They can't hear them jingling anymore, and there's like one waiting for them to lead them away. And Poe's
a little
like,
convenient, but
all right, everyone,
sure.
follow me. And he just starts like walking away confidently, and everyone's just like,
Looks back at
looks
Leia.
at Leia, and she's like, you're looking at me for? Follow him.
Yeah.
That was a great
And
way
then,
to pass the
and
torch.
then that look on her face when everyone else starts walking is just
that
like,
pride.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
just like, I'm proud of this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Like she's like finally she's like, no, this is the Poe that I need.
Yeah.
Super cool. And so I think that's the moment, right, where we flash back to wherever the heck Luke is, and we see
Yeah.
that he's been force projecting himself this whole
From
time.
And he's
the
just-
rock.
Yeah.
And he's
He's like-
even floating. He's actually
Yeah.
floating while doing
And
this.
he's like
And then he
super
drops.
feeble. Yeah.
Right.
Super
And-
feeble because of all that.
and-
shit.
and-
But
then-
and I kind of thought he would be okay whenever he got back.
Yeah,
up.
that was
I
my
was
big
hoping so
thing.
too. Like I was like,
And then he just
cool.
got up, and
And then
then
he
you see that
disappeared.
look on his face, and he looks out at the sun, and you just go back and forth between him, and then you get that wide shot, and just that look on his face, and like he's ready.
Yeah.
He's
He
done what
was
he has
peaceful.
to do. Yeah, exactly.
He was one with
I
the
like it
Force.
because
And
he
then-
went out. He went out when he wanted to go out.
Exactly.
On his terms.
That was
Yeah.
the
How
biggest
he
thing
wanted to
going
go,
in this
and I was
movie
like,
that I was scared of. I
absolutely
didn't want
awesome.
Luke to die to just Kylo being better than him.
Right.
Right.
Just set, but
Which probably, like, if they had actually physically matched up, would definitely have been the case.
I don't know.
I
If Luke
think
is
so.
that powerful,
But
he might not have had to even draw his
He was
lightsaber.
projecting from pretty far.
He
like,
was, but he was also, like, he's been off of the Force for a bit. I don't know
But
if
he
he could
can
have handled a
that's the
physical encounter with him.
He might not have had to even actually fight. He probably could have just
I mean,
stopped.
If
I'm sure
he's
he
been
could.
cut
He probably
off for
could have-
so long, and he
I'm sure he
just
could, but
came back
Kylo's-
to it and could.
Kylo's
No.
not a pushover.
But the
Right.
thing is, if Snoke could just whack Kylo around like that, could just make him his little bitch.
It's true. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of questions to.
Do not know.
But ultimately, the shot where it's behind him and you see the twin suns. I love that because there
Yeah.
wasn't a second sun, but then it pulls everything right back to episode 4, where he's staring out, wishing for something greater, and then that moment of peace
and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That entire sequence is incredible, and people
poop on it because they're idiots
jerks.
and they don't know what a good movie is.
They don't like good things, as heartbreaking as it is.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Yerks.
Oh gosh. Does anything else happen? There's no end to.
They get onto Rey and all the others. They get onto the Falcon and they take off. They have their little, everyone's hugging it out.
Right.
Rey officially meets Poe because they didn't actually meet before.
Right. Finn and Rey are reunited.
Yeah, and they have. And then Rey sits down, just stares at the pieces of the broken lightsaber, and asks Leia, "What are we gonna do?"
Right.
And Leia's like, "We got everything we need to rebuild
yep.
it." And it's just roll credits.
What a great
So there's a lot of people that are that feel that Rey and Kylo are kind of being made to seem like a budding romance.
I don't see that in the slightest.
Let's do it. I'm okay.
The shot in the elevator where she turns to him and gets close, I can understand that someone taking that in that direction, but I just don't. Why would she be any kind of romantically interested in him? Because she was just calling him a murderer for half the movie, and just
people
furious,
make very poor romantic decisions in my.
Yes, that is my entire life. We don't need. This is not those sad guys,
you.
This is those nerds, But yeah,
I feel like Kylo has that. He kind of wants someone with him that understands him, and she's the only person that can really understand him. That's why
I think she's just not in it at all. She is. Yeah. She just wants to. She's not interested in him at all. He might be into her. I'll give him that.
I'm interested. I don't know.
I don't really want that any kind of romance in this. I had enough in the prequels.
I've just been wondering what Rey's motivations have been for most of this. I guess most of it has just been figuring out where the frick she fits.
She that's her entire. She wants to find her place in the galaxy. That's all it is.
Basically, the only reason she got wrapped into this is because she found a droid.
Yeah, she found BB-8
and then
just by accident.
Finn found her, and they got shot at. So she was like, "Okay, I guess we're
gotta
leaving
run
now."
We neglected to mention Dark BB-8.
Who was in 2 shots, but
right. But whenever
the edgier BB-8 for anyone who didn't feel comfortable buying BB-8 toys.
Right.
Oh, now I can buy this toy.
Now I've got this one that's black and gray.
Yeah,
I kind of feel
with a flatter head.
I kind of feel like there's a story there between BB-8 and Dark BB-8.
No, I think
they were on the ship. It's like the droid was going BB-8. They put a trash can on him upside down to disguise him. And
I think the whole point was that's how the guard that's how they knew they were going to be in the reactor room because the droid. Probably knew none of.
It wasn't the droid though the droid was there.
No,
but
Benicio the DJ sold them out after they got caught. Is what happened. But the droid probably
he told them before.
Because, I think that's what. I think he was stalling while he was while they were getting in.
Because
trying to get in.
Phasma. Whenever they revealed Phasma, she's like, "Your payment as we agreed."
No, that's later because that's after they get captured, and then he gives them all the information at that point. But the droid, when he's up on that balcony looking down at him, I think that's supposed to kind of imply that that's what he knows that none of those people, I imagine he would probably have his entire database of who's on the ship and all that.
Makes sense.
And it's also that people probably aren't paying attention to it, but a droid would be like, that droid's not supposed to be here. We don't have droids like that. What is that thing? Mm-hmm. So I think that's what it probably tipped off security or something, and then Phasma went in. But at that point when they were captured is when DJ sells them out and just tells them, run a scan for the smaller craft, you'll find them. And so I hope we get more of him either in the next movie or in a book or something because I like the character. I've heard some people have issue why does he have a stutter and all that. I thought it was just an interesting charter shtick.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be some super deep meaning behind it.
I mean, we're involving tons of different ethnicities and walks of life in Star Wars, and that's fantastic. Why can't this guy have a stutter? That's
right.
Another funny thing about BB-8 is in the beginning with Poe and the whole scene with the Dreadnought, and I think maybe one of the first lines is BB-8 beeping.
Yeah.
What he actually
come on, man, happy beeps.
What he says there is he says, "I've got a bad feeling about this."
Oh,
He beeps
really?
out, I've got Ryan Johnson's come out and said, like, BB-8 beeps out, "I've got a bad feeling about
Oh,
this."
that's
and that's
great.
why Poe is like, "Hey,
Happy
that
beeps.
doesn't sound like." It's like, "Hey, those are some sad beeps. I need happy beeps here."
Oh man, that's great.
That's fun.
Yeah, no one else said it in the movie.
Yeah.
That's right. That's pretty clever.
I've heard that Akbar says it's a trap right before he dies.
No,
Does he not? I just heard that. I don't know if he does.
I didn't hear it personally.
Does
I was
someone
kind of
say it?
I know it was
I
like
don't
a
think
really
so. I
bad
think-
situation.
I think it I can't remember now.
I don't know. I'd like to. Well,
There's a lot of chatter on the bridge, so that's kind of one of those.
someone
little
send me
things
a
that might
copy
get
of the
lost up.
script.
Somebody, quick, let's go back to theater now. Calm down. But I was kind of annoyed that they just killed Akbar like that.
Yeah.
Because when the bridge got blown up,
They killed a bunch of people.
yeah,
The theme of the movie.
Yeah.
people
of
are
people
gonna
die.
die.
Yeah.
Get over it. Like, let the past die. I do. A lot of fans think that it's kind of a middle finger. Like throughout this movie, they're saying there's a big message of move on to the future in this movie, and a lot of fans are like taking offense to that. Think it's a big middle finger. It's like, no. Yes and no. I can understand and appreciate that, but at the same time, this is. We're not gonna. Do you just want to you can rewatch just rewatch the original trilogy.
It's not the 70s anymore.
Yeah.
Just
No,
if you
it's
want to
not-
watch the original trilogy and that's it, just keep watching it. Fine.
Exactly.
Let the rest of us enjoy the new and the
I
the
don't
potential
think
of something
that was
different.
meant to be a stab at those people, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of
think so
just
either.
great
That's just how they're
advice.
taking
Great
it.
advice for life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
It-
Burn
don't get hung up-
everything.
Yeah, like just don't get
Burn
hung up
everything down. Forget what has happened in life.
But yeah, don't get.
In,
I see
don't
what you're
get
saying.
hung up in the past.
Don't-
I mean,
like
it's a trap that everyone falls into. At some
Super
point.
accurate. And there's no. I think the series is in great hands. Probably arguably the best hands it's ever been in.
I mean, yes and no, because again, well, to kind
I'll
of
say
fight
that.
myself, yeah, when it was the original trilogy, that was one thing, but at the time, George Lucas only technically ever directed the first one.
Yep.
And then
Then he did a prequel trilogy, and we were like,
all by
"Bro."
himself, and no one could tell him no.
Yep.
And it was
So I think
it was a mess.
I think
like,
it's in the best place it has ever been, and
Yes,
I
it
think
has got
it's
a-
just going to keep being great. And
it's got a
I'm
think
fine
tank
with
behind it, basically,
Yeah.
and there's don't get me wrong, there are people specifically who make final decisions, like Pablo Hidalgo
Yeah.
and
And the other thing is, just the people that are running it also
they
like
care about it. They
this
love Star Wars. They
series.
care
Yes.
about it. Like
And
they,
so
they
it's gonna be good, and like you don't have to be afraid to let go of what's happened and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's awesome. He's great. I'm sure we haven't seen the end of him. He will more than likely be a Force ghost. He will almost certainly show up in probably some spin-off series. Hopefully,
Yes.
I don't think we've seen the end of him. I think he's fine. If he's your main gripe of this movie, it's fine. If your main gripe is that we don't know who Snoke is, it
Sucks to
doesn't
suck.
matter.
the whole point of Snoke
Maybe
was to
he
set
is-
up Kylo.
Maybe he is Plagueis, and he'll show back up.
The whole
Who
point
knows?
of Snoke was to
Who
set up
cares?
Kylo.
Right.
That's all he really
Kylo's
was,
who
and
we
that's what
wanted to
mattered.
see, and he's the one who's more important. So
Yeah.
we're glad Snoke was
He was a plot device. That's all he really was.
insert old bad guy. That is who he is. And like I listened to a podcast called The Weekly Planet, and they brought up a point that like no one cared who Sidious was
Yes.
at all.
Palpatine was only ever mentioned in the first one. He was mentioned as the Emperor
Right.
once
Yeah. And
in
so,
A
like,
New Hope, and then we get a hologram of him in 5, which in the original version of Empire, it wasn't even Ian McDermott. It was just this weird looking, messed up thing. And then in 6, they brought on Ian McDermott and they did his makeup up, and then for the special editions, they insert Palpatine, the Ian McDermott version. So we barely got the Emperor in the originals.
Yeah, like we don't. Snoke doesn't need to have this ridiculous backstory. I think that's another point in this movie that this movie makes with Rey is that like we don't have to. Not everybody
don't have-
has to be
yeah.
from this ridiculous, mysterious, well thought out background with a whole lot of destiny and Skywalker.
Well,
People,
It makes her more relatable.
yeah, exactly. A lot of people are like,
She
she's a
comes
Mary
from you and
Sue.
me.
She's a Mary Sue. So was Luke in the first one.
Yeah, A lot of main characters are Mary Sue's.
They
and Marty
start out
Stu's,
that way, like,
and that's how things are. Just deal with it.
but I like that it sends that message of anyone can be a hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone can
As long as
rise
you're
to the
Force-sensitive.
anyone can rise to the occasion and be the hero that's needed, and I thoroughly appreciate that message.
Anyone can also put on a really cool suit that reflects blaster fire and still look like a moron. So yeah, that's
I feel like, you know, the biggest thing not to forget here is, you know, this is ultimately a Disney thing, and you should not anger the Disney overlords.
indeed, this is true. They control all of your entertainment now.
Ultimately,
They do.
my biggest thing is try and have a little more fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
good God,
Yeah.
let go.
And
I get it.
ultimately,
You're
that's the point of cinema.
I'm a hardcore Star Wars fanboy, and I think I've proven that throughout this episode. And no matter what theories I want or what expectations I have, I will go into the movie, leave all of that at the door, and watch it for what it is. And I think a lot of people can't do that.
You're a big Star Wars fan, so you must love that Battlefront too, yeah?
I haven't played a single
Don't
second
play
of that
it,
game.
yeah, no.
I
A friend of mine was telling me.
all I have done is read up on the story of
Yeah,
it
no, Phil-
because I refuse to give EA my money.
Phil was telling me he walked into like a GameStop or something and saw just like a shelf full of that game, and he was like, "Yeah, good.
I saw
good.
I saw
No one's
a,
buying this game. You stay there. You
I
stay
saw
on the
something
shelf."
online. It was a
Bad.
picture of like a GameStop after Black Friday sale.
And it's just
It
Battlefront?
was like it was a shelf like the
That's-
whole thing was empty. The entire top shelf, like all the way,
That's-
you could see all the way to the back of this thing was just Battlefront.
That's
Oh,
great. I love
right.
that. Good.
I
Stay
refuse
that way.
I-
Nobody give that the
I
money.
refuse to give EA my
So
money
dumb.
after what they did with the first one.
So
I
dumb.
will just read up on the story for this one.
That's fine.
Like that's
Anyway,
all I need
that's
to
a
do.
whole other can of worms. But this movie's good. Everybody should go see it.
This movie is fun.
You should realize
Everyone
that.
should just stop hating and like this thing.
Yeah,
'cause
no,
it's
it's
great.
really-
Don't just
It's a
blindly
great
like
film.
it. If you
Oh,
have,
yeah.
if
If you have
sometimes-
gripes and they're good gripes, they're worthy of being griped about. Share them.
like,
Or not, whatever you want.
or
Do what
continue
you
being a
want.
jerk, whatever. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
I wish more people could let go and kind of have fun.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
my biggest thing about it.
Yeah. But any hoozles, I recommend this movie. Definitely go out and see it. This has been yet another episode of Those Nerds You Know, and I was very happy to have my good friends Michael and Corey here with us. Let us know if you like Michael and Corey or if you hate them and they should leave.
I'm pretty awful. I talked a lot in this
They're great.
episode. I
Especially-
kind of bogarted half of this
No,
thing.
no, you're good. I'm just happy to have you.
I'm
And
glad you did. I mean, I like just bouncing ideas off like that. It was nice.
It's nice to be able to talk about this at length because I don't have enough people to talk about it in a
agree.
day-to-day thing.
yeah. And it worked out really well having you guys here. 'Cause Eddie had a rough week, so he wasn't able to make it. But you're here, and Corey's randomly in town because it's Christmas.
Yeah,
so
for anyone who doesn't
good.
know, I live in Texas.
Yeah, we're
currently.
Yeah,
I used to
like-
live here. Now I live in Texas, which is like 6
So,
hours away.
This is a rare
And,
treat.
yeah.
If you like Corey, you better let me know. That's the way, because we'll have to plan out far in advance if he's going to come back. But
I,
tell
on the
us-
other hand, live right around here.
fact, you'll
I'm
probably
good.
see more of Michael, or hear more of Michael. You'll never see us. Well, you've seen me and David. No, look, don't worry about it. But please let us know in the comments. Tweet at us. Give us your opinions. Tell us if you like this movie. If you didn't like this movie, tell us if you didn't like it for reasons that we didn't mention or cover or argue about. Let us know why you did like it. All of those things. Where do you think Star Wars is going? What do you want to see in Episode 9? What anthologies do you want to see? Are you excited for the other trilogy that was announced or that's in the works? Just let us know all these things. Again, you can catch us at TNYKPod on Twitter, as well as Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, Google Play, all of those things. We've got a Gmail you can reach us at. Is those nerds you know pod at gmail.com. I think that's it. Anyways, I've been Ethan.
I've been Michael.
and Corey.
Excellent. And we are Those Nerds You Know.
Bye.